Impact of media on culture.
Media has always been a powerful presence in the lives of people. It plays a vital role in shaping a person's sense of reality or their perception of what is right or wrong and what are the norms in the society he or she is living in. Language. There can be no denying that social media has a significant impact on the ways that we communicate. Its ever-evolving nature leaves our language in a continuous state of alteration and regeneration. The influence of our language, then, is a true phenomenon. It has managed to alter our vocabulary, increase the number of communications we have every day, and the speed at which we have them. Okay, now what are the influences to language? First, social media alters vocabulary. Social media impacts our language by altering the meaning of some of our vocabulary. Let's take Pinterest for example. It is built to allow its users to mark and sort interesting new ideas. The social media platform has changed the way we view the words pin, pinning, and pinned. We know these words to be representative of a physical pin with which we are able to pin a project or paper to a corkboard. Next is social media introduces new vocabulary, just as social media alters the usage for our language, with the need for quick and succinct language and communications online. Full verb phrases have become common acronyms that are now used in everyday settings and not just online. Phrases such as "by the way" or "talk to you later" are quickly changed to "BTW" or "TTYL." And social media also increases the volume and speed of daily communications. With the introduction of verb phrase acronyms in modern technology, daily communications are able to cut down on the number of words and characters used to accurately hold a conversation. This means that we are able to more efficiently communicate and with greater speed.
Next is the fashion. We know that media had a dramatic impact on the fashion industry, from business models to marketing, but it has also changed the way we dress ourselves every day. What influences fashion? First is the magazines. Brands put their clothing in magazines, and also users consume ideas and inspiration by flipping through the pages of the magazines. Next is the models. Models walk in fashion shows, and users hope and prayed that part of it would be covered on televisions. Fashion influencers are also influences fashion. Nothing is constant except for change. Fashion is nothing but a constantly changing trend. Many fashion bloggers also operate on a combination like Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, and other social media platforms. Some YouTubers have made a name for themselves by creating fashion and beauty videos. And lastly, the K-pop idols that are wearing Korean outfits. Many teens watching K-pop music videos are influenced by their fashion, and some traditional and local clothing are changed into K-pop style that is mostly copied by many countries. These are some of the fashion influenced by Korean idols: pastel colors, harem pants, mismatched prints, basic, and high-waist bottoms. All of that are examples of Korean outfits.
Now, let's talk about manners. Television is a part of media. That's why here in the Philippines, we have the MTRCB content rating or the Movie and Television Review and Classification Board that is shown before the program begins to know its target audience. It is G for general patronage, PG for parental guidance, and SPG for strong parental guidance. But Why do we have taste? Television is one of the examples that media has an impact on the manners of its viewers. And today, because of innovation and technology, we have social media that we can easily interact with the world and to its culture. We can easily adopt it and affect our manner, especially to the children today that has more focused on gadgets and the internet. On your screen are some of the example of traditional manners in the Philippines, which are pagkakamay, pagmamano, at pagdadasal. But what influences manners? First, dreams and ambitions. Some shows gives a person a new dream or ambition in life. Like when we were young, we used to watch cartoons or animes like Naruto. Naruto is a brave young ninja that is very optimistic, kind, and has a dream. Through time, Naruto did his best to reach his dream, which for some has become their inspiration in trying to achieve their dreams or ambitions. Next, Western manners. The manners of Western countries are being shown in movie or series. For example, Jose Rizal tells about Maria Clara or a traditional Filipina that is very modest. But to the time as models shown on the TV, magazines, and internet which is influenced by Western country that has a culture of liberalism, our very modest culture turns into woman that is proud of their self and a woman that can fight for their rights and woman that can do what a man can do. Another is traditional manners being changed or neglected. Television series or movies doesn't always show the traditional Filipino manners such as pagmamano and superstitions. Uh, Pagmamano is a Filipino way of greeting the elderly even if not their relatives. But some elderly didn't want to be mano because they say that they feel they are too old. In foreign movies, we do not see any pagmamano. Instead, they are having high five, a hug, and what we call here beso beso. And as we see, it is much way cooler than pagmamano. In stories of Rizal and from the history books, Filipinos are very religious and have too many what we call pamahiin. We pray before sleep and pray before eating. But today, as our favorite pastime is in social media, some often eat while holding a phone, lying in bed while holding a phone until they sleep until morning. When they wake up, they are checking phone first and having a thank you for another life, and it repeats every day until they forget to pray.
Games. Games are also one of the culture that affects by the media. The Philippines has an abundance of recreational games. Nowadays, the number of children that you see in the street playing is reduced. In the recent study, only 37.3% of youth reported to engage in postmodern hobbies, such as movies, computers, internet, text messaging, video games, videoke, and going to malls. However, traditional games that emphasize social interaction like sipa, taguan, patintero, tumbang preso, jolen, text, etc. are being eclipsed very rapidly by video games and network games. Example of traditional games, patintero, tumbang preso, and loksong baka. But, what influences gaming culture? First, the video games. Postmodern games are producing a new play culture among the youth age 7 to 12. Play culture is characterized by the preference for fantasy and unrealistic situations. Network gamers are impersonal and unmindful of external environment, individualistic, lacks emotional interaction. They have lesser knowledge in manipulating the natural environment, and they no longer play outside. Next is the internet. Kids prefer surfing the internet or watching YouTube videos than playing outside or playing traditional games with their friends. Internet is one of the most influence in the gaming culture. And lastly, the safety of their children. Parents want to ensure the safety of their children, so they also prefer letting them play with gadgets instead of playing outside.
Customs. There are also a lot of customs in the Philippines that are not being forgotten but are changed into something that is more modern in a sense. Here are the examples of customs that being modernized. Balagtasan to flip-top. The phenomenon of flip-top has grown as the number of internet users in the Philippines has. It is popular in every part of the country that the internet can reach, and where the culture of collectivism, such as inside a computer shop. Another, bayanihan to house movers. Bayanihan is the act of the whole neighborhood getting together and helping to move the house to the new location. But as the generation passed by and colonialism has influenced us with certain traits, modernization and a sense of being civilized has also been adopted by most of our countrymen, especially in the present days. With this, the bayanihan has been rarely used anymore, and moving trucks and truck rental services has been used more often. Courtship to online dating. Courtship is the traditional dating period before engagement and marriage. Courtship varies both by time period and by region of the world, which was still evident on the past generations, but today there are already different approaches as to how courtship can be applied with the influence of technology, particularly social media. Social dating sites and other media sites are now a mainstream for most people, from young to old, for finding an intimate partner or just someone to talk to.
Lastly, the next culture is the food. Food is also being influenced by media as there are minor changes being made to local foods to accommodate people that has a taste for the food of other countries. Now, let's discuss what influences food. First, the advertising impacts of our food choices. Food manufacturers market their products in these mediums in order to ensure that their products are sold to their target audience. Next is the rise of food network and dedicated food shows become a tool for food discoveries. These definitely have been very helpful, teaching about cuisines, opening people to new foods, showing people how easy it can be to cook at home and prepare fresh dishes, and increasing the popularity of doing it yourself. Lastly, social media users are more likely to eat fruit and veggies or snacks and junk foods if they think their friends do the same. Basically, the research on life and health sciences found that study participants ate an extra fifth of portion of fruit and vegetable or junk foods themselves for every portion they thought their social media peers ate. Best example of the food trends in social media are DIY samgyeopsal, sushi bake, and milk tea. They are made viral through the media, more often in social media, such as Facebook and Instagram. So that's all, and thank you for listening on our discussion about the impact of media on culture. Thank you and God bless.